All right, to talk more on this and the success of Operation Sindoor, joining us live on the broadcast is Lieutenant General Subrata Saha, who is a former Deputy Chief of Army Staff and member of the National Security Advisory Board. Welcome to WION, Lieutenant General Saha.
Thank you.
Lieutenant General Saha, the Indian Armed Forces have laid bare with evidence, with proof, how they have defended India during Pakistan attacks, including destroying the Turkish drones and the Chinese PL15 missiles. How significant is this milestone for the Indian Armed Forces?
Well, of course, it's a very significant milestone, as you put it. And I would actually, I think my friend Marshal Bharti put it so well, and it says it all. Well, but I think in order to just break it down, I think the great success has been, A, how we were able to penetrate, I would say quite easily, the air defense system of the Pakistanis, which was primarily built out of, shall we say, the Chinese, systems, as it were, and strike at some very high value, very sensitive targets, which ultimately brought them down to their knees, seeking for a ceasefire. The third thing is to be able to, get at the entire length and breadth of the country and tell them that you cannot get away, anywhere. So we are capable of striking at any corner. And fourth, last but not the least, is by a combination of whatever Pakistan is, producing and whatever they have got from Turkey. We are all aware of the number of C-130s that landed in the run-up to whatever was happening, and whatever they have got from Chinese in terms of drones and whatever missiles they have manufactured with the help of Chinese or imported from there. None of them were able to penetrate our air defense systems, which was quite beautifully explained today by the DG Military Operations General Rajiv Ghai through that chart, multi-layered. And in fact, he gave an analogy from cricket to explain that you cannot penetrate this. And as I think all the three DG operations today brought out, that this is a evolutionary process and they are going to keep improving upon it, because now that they have shown some of their cards, I'm sure they are wise enough to also inform everybody, as they did, that we are going to continue to stay ahead of the curve to take up the next challenge. Because mind you, the next challenge has been spelled out very clearly in the policy of the government, that any act of terror is going to be hereafter dealt with as an act of war, which clearly implies that we have to have the capability of very swift retaliation, and again, retaliation at any corner of Pakistan, from wherever the whole business of terrorist activities are being, managed, handled, perpetrated, or whatever you want to call it. So I would put it that way.
Right, General Saha. Apart from that very strong message that India will retaliate to any violation by Pakistan, another very strong message that has been given out loud and clear is that Operation Sindoor was a fight against terrorism and not against the Pakistani military. How do you read that?
See, I think that we had made it clear right from the very beginning. If you recall the Ministry of Defense press release that came out at 1:44 a.m., we were very categoric to state that we have targeted terrorist infrastructure. Those 9 targets, 3 of them most significant, i.e. Bhavalpur going south to north, Bhavalpur, Muridke, both of them headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed and headquarters of the LET at Muridke, and Muzaffarabad, which is like a hub, training camps, number of them, and a kind of a large launch base, if you will, from where multiple terrorist groups get launched into India. So we targeted these 3 plus 6 others, very specific, very precise targeting. Some slides were shown today and in the previous DG Air Operations briefing on how precisely not only did we not engage military targets, we did not have any collateral damage. And in that message that came out at 1:44 a.m., we are very categoric to state that we have not engaged any military targets. And why did we put out that message in our MOD press release? It was more to tell, in my view, tell Pakistan that should you choose to escalate, friends, we are going to come after your military targets. And Pakistan did precisely that. They came after our military installations. So what India had no choice but to get back and give it so strongly against the Pakistani military targets that they had to pay a price for it. And in that one, what did they lose? The major air defense system in Lahore and another one in next to their general headquarters in Rawalpindi. After that, Pakistan dared to again come and strike at multiple locations with drones. All those drone attacks failed. And by that time, India has had enough. And then they got after these,
Right, General Sir.
multiple air bases and those sensitive targets that I had alluded to little earlier in my in this interaction just now.
Right, of course, there's been minimum damage to India and very little collateral damage. Your last thought on how Operation Sindoor perhaps was a spectacular display of coordination between the Indian Army, Navy and the Air Force.
That's again a wonderful point which you raised. I think it was an absolutely spectacular coordination which was there between all the three services. I must also highlight here, it was not only all the three services, in fact, between multiple ministries, you could see how wonderfully synchronized the briefings were between the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Defense, and also all the other agency briefings that were taking place, for example, coordinated by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and even with the state governments, if you saw the synchronization that was happening with the civil defense activities and the entire range of activities with the int agencies, with the various, central armed police forces that the Ministry of Home Affairs was doing. So I think it was an absolutely, as they say, whole of government and whole of nation coordination that was taking place that we saw. In fact, the way the entire country rose up to the occasion, absolutely united in this event, and I think it's going to be a great inspiration for the future generations and for any future challenges that comes in the way of our country.
Right, General Saha. Thank you so much for joining us here on WION and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you.